Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the installment of Scott's Selections for Wednesday, October 28th. We're getting today's play of the day. Quick recap of what happened yesterday. We ended up giving out a look at Moneyline Parlay in the NFL, but to recap some results that we ended up having, we ended up winning the World Series game spread, which we had with the Dodgers. Because we had the Dodgers minus 1.5 games at minus 110 on FanDuel. Got a little bit more interesting than I wanted it to, especially after Game 4 and how the Dodgers should have been up 3-1. But either way, the Dodgers ended up rallying from behind yesterday after Snell got pulled by Cash. One of the worst moves I've ever seen from a World Series manager, but I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to count my money, and hopefully you're able to cash that with me. Now, for today's video, I know that's coming out a little bit late, but there are no sports on today's card now that there is no World Series Game 7. And for the card, I feel like it's a perfect time for me to go through the UFC weekend stuff because there was nothing else to talk about on the card. Now, before we do all that, we're going to recap what happened in the last UFC card. We ended up sweeping the board. We went 3-0 as we ended up having Khabib to win by decision or by submission at minus 143, but we ended up doing that to win a unit. Easy win there. He ended up retiring after he won by second-round submission. Greatest fighter of all time. Not very much else to say. Other than that, we had Whitaker over 2.5 rounds at plus 104 on FanDuel, which definitely worked out well as we ended up it was a very entertaining fight, and I thought there was a moment there where Cannonier looked like he was going to be done for when Whitaker clipped him in the beginning of the third round, but he ended up holding on, and ended up going to a distance like I thought it would. Whitaker got the win as I thought he would also, but we had the over 2.5, so that was a very nice, easy winner. Now, looking at the other play we had, we also ended up having we had Tuivasa to win by knockout or decision at plus 120 on FanDuel against Steven Struve, and he won by first-round knockout. So overall, we went 3-0 for plus 3.24 units. Very, very solid day in the UFC. We're going to be looking for another profitable card here on the weekend. Now, unfortunately, unlike last week's card, I think this card is very underwhelming. You have a couple of decent fights, but not from really a betting perspective. You have Greg Hardy coming back, who's always a character. You also have the potential final fight of Anderson Silva, even though he probably should have retired about 5 years ago, against Uriah Hall, who's also underachieved his entire career. You do have some other people like Kevin Holland who are pretty good. You also have Courtney Casey for the women's side, who is also pretty solid. Before the UFC card, I know I usually alternate between giving out multiple fights, talking about plays on each of them, or giving out a money line parlay or something like that. This week we're going to be doing something differently. I really don't like any of these fights except for one, so we're going to be doing a special one-fight pick video. It's going to be on the co-main event between Andre Touchy-Feely and Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell. And in this fight, we're going to be going with Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell here. And we're going to be taking him by decision or submission. It's available on Fox Bet at time recording of 12:56 p.m. at minus 125. So the play of the day, once again, here for Wednesday, October 28th, is going to be on Bryce Mitchell to win by submission or decision at minus 125 on Fox Bet. And that's going to be in the co-headliner. So a couple reasons why I like Mitchell in this fight. First of all, Andre Feely, very solid fighter out of Team Alpha Male, 21-7 overall. His recent results, he's 3-1 in his last 4. He has been a bit of a decision magnet as he has gone to decision in 5 of his last 6 fights. Actually more, now that I actually think about it. Let me just break this down really quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, and 8 of his last 9 fights have gone to decision, so he has been known to go the distance a little bit. However, it is worth mentioning that his results in the decisions lately have not been too great, as he has split each of his last 4 decisions. So he has gotten some mixed results, with his last win coming by split against Charles Jourdain. But that fight itself was very entertaining. I thought Feely definitely won. He gets a little bit sloppy, though, with the striking, but that kind of breaks into why I like Mitchell in this fight. Feely is a stand-up exclusive fighter. I know he does have 3 submission wins, but he loves to be on the feet, use his range, use his kicks, and try to knock his opponents unconscious. He's 3 submission wins, but 2 submission losses, so his ground game isn't that great. And in terms of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he is a white belt, which is very important because he's going up against undefeated fighter Bryce Mitchell, who is 13-0, with 9 wins by submission and 4 wins by decision. He has made himself pretty well known in the UFC for his very interesting characteristics, I should say, and the fact that he finally won his battle with the UFC, and he finally got himself some camo shorts. So congratulations to him. He'll be wearing the camo shorts the first time in the UFC. But that has nothing to do with the fight itself. Overall, the main reason why I like Mitchell is because of the fact that he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's going to try to take this to the ground as much as possible. If you've seen his last 2 fights, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He ended up submitting Matt Sales by twister submission, which is one of the only times it's ever happened in the UFC. And the last fight he had against Charles Rosa was one of the most dominating 3-round performances I've ever seen. I believe he won 30-24 or 30-25 on basically every scorecard. It was a murder. He sat on top of him the entire time and he tried about 3 different twisters, a bunch of other submission attempts, and Rosa ended up holding on. But Rosa's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well, and he got manhandled by Bryce Mitchell. So this is a next level submission artist and a ground guy. And I simply think that Fili, even though he wants to be in the stand-up, Mitchell should be able to find some openings, especially with the wild way that Fili likes to throw his strikes. And I do think that Mitchell will take him down once in each round, set on him, potentially win by submission, but also potentially win by decision. But I do think that Mitchell will do enough on the actual scorecards on the ground in order to get the job done, worst case scenario. So once again, for the play of the day here on Wednesday, October 28th, we're going to be going with Bryce Mitchell to win by submission or decision at -125 on Fox Bet. Those ones are available at roughly -140 or higher on FanDuel or other areas market wide. So it's a pretty good deal. And for that reason, we're going to be taking the value here with Mitchell in this fight. So the play of the day, overall, for Wednesday, October 28th. Sorry if you were looking for something a little bit sooner than the weekend, but of course, there's nothing on the card. We'll be doing the Thursday breakdown for the Thursday card tomorrow, of course, with Scott Steen and I will be doing a play of the day on that as well. But other than that, though, good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.